comms up. Get your comms up.
The Panther Comms Podcast with Timmy V.O.
Hello, Panther fans, and welcome to another Panther Comms Monday in a Box. This is the LA RAMS edition. Steve Wilkes' first game, our first West Coast trip this season, second road game. And if you watch the game, you will realize that, you know, we didn't necessarily stretch the field, so to say. Even though we had a nice beginning. If I'm not mistaken, that's the first time the Panthers have scored on an opening drive in quite some time. But yet again, we also keep that good old statistics that, you know, I should say that good old statistic, not plural, singular, that, you know, whenever our opponent has 17 plus points, we take a L. You know, but there's some good things that came out of this, some bad things, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. And of course, you know, I say good things came out of this, considering we missed some key pieces on defense, and we still shut out the Rams in the first quarter. That was huge. I'm gonna tell you right now, folks, when you have a limited pool of talent to pull from in a football game, especially at the NFL level, your ability to scheme in terms of, you know, adjustments, in-game adjustments, is hampered greatly. And you saw that. You saw that from PJ. You saw that from McAdoo. I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, let's get into it, man. All right, so here we go. We're going to look at the score by quarter first. And, you know, that puts things in perspective a little bit here. Of course, the Carolina Panthers had a 12-play drive off the gate, got down the field. You know, we fell short, but, you know, we got 3 points out of it. So, I mean, that's, again, scoring on the first drive is huge, and you'll see right there, you know, scoring plays. You know, you have 12 plays for 51 yards, 6 minutes and 22 seconds. That's good. We don't normally start out that way. You know what I'm saying? But if you see in the second quarter, you know, we tied up 7-7. You know, Dante had the interception, and you know, the Rams started getting their mojo together. Now the second half is what happened. I mean, it's clear as day, right? They did to us what we did to them in the first quarter. You know, Rams got the ball first. You know, 12 plays, 87 yards in their scoring drive in that situation. And it just went downhill from there. They made adjustments on defense to our offense, and we didn't have the skill set to counter that. That's basically what that is, folks. When you're down to a quarterback that probably shouldn't even been on your roster in the first place, this is what happens. This is what happens. And, of course, you can see in the fourth quarter, you know, we got shut out again. And, you know, they got a touchdown, and that's that. And again, folks, if you look at the scoring plays and the sequence in which that happened, we didn't lose the game until the fourth quarter. We were still in the game in the third quarter, folks. It was 17-10. It was 17-10. We were in the game. The problem is we couldn't move the football because our like I mentioned before, our talent didn't match LA's in terms of who's been playing where the longest, basically. Of course, Matthew Stafford versus PJ Walker, and I'll show you those stats here in just a second. You look at the wide receivers, and of course the Coach McVay and his offense. I mean, gosh, he's been there for years. The man has won the Super Bowl, folks. Continuity matters. It matters. And having a revolving door for offensive coordinators for this football team has done nothing but destroy us. Especially since I learned recently, I didn't know this. And I'm ashamed to say this, but I didn't know that Joe Brady was working with Cam during the bye week last year instead of going on vacation like Coach Rule said, and got fired and got the axe when Coach Rule got back when he found out what he was doing. That bothers me. Anyway, this isn't about Rule. This is about our roster, actually. If you think about personnel movements and what him and Fitterer were trying to do, Fitterer was just trying to do his job. He's trying to do what the coach needed him to do. And this is what we got. A drastically limited offense, another offensive coordinator, another quarterback that shouldn't even been on the roster anyway if it wasn't for Coach Rule. So, yeah, along with Tepper and the fact that he was very hands-off with a guy that shouldn't have been even in the NFL in the first place, this is what happens. Our offensive roster is decimated. We've had a decent defense for 2 years straight now. Decent. And our best corner, which is J.C. Horn, mind you, our best corner was not in this game, and he missed most of last season. Jeremy Chin has been a star coming up to the season, and now he's banged up. It's only a matter of time, folks, before you start losing key players for significant minutes, and this is what happens. We don't have an offense that can pick up the slack, so to say, for a defense that's having issues with injuries. Complementary football cannot be played when you don't have that to complement it. Just saying. All right, so let's move on down, man. Passing, and let's look at PJ here, and the reason I put PJ's and Eason's stats together is because they still combined had 12 fewer attempts than Matthew Stafford, and I'm gonna get into time of possession here in just a second. So you had 21 attempts between PJ and Eason, 21 attempts, 13 completions. So between two quarterbacks, they both accounted for basically six and a half completions. We're just going by statistics. For 119 yards between two players. PJ was sacked 2 times for 9 yards, for a 9-yard loss. His longest pass was for 16 yards. And then you look at Eason, and of course, his longest was 49 yards. Neither one of those were in the air. How's that? Well, look at McCaffrey. Well, why didn't we throw the ball downfield? Because we were dumping it underneath him. We almost got 100 yards receiving by one player. You do with what works, folks. Too many Panther fans, especially on social media, are so in your feelings, and you think you know what you're talking about because you have feelings about the game of football. But not once will you look at the stats in this game and look at it for what it is, and also think back in your mind what the game was like. You have to put the two together. Now, if you have opinions about the game of football, fine. If you're a Panther fan, you want to express yourself, fine. But don't put yourself in a position where you think you know what you're talking about. PJ was not the issue. Our inability to adjust based on a playbook that PJ did not fully understand, nor Eason, was the issue. McAdoo was more concerned about retaining possession of the football instead of being willy-nilly and haphazard and throwing the football all over the damn place, knowing damn good and well PJ Walker's not going to get it done. Knowing damn good and well you could dump it off to McCaffrey for 7 receptions and 89 yards, with his longest game was 49 yards. Ian Thomas, two targets, 2 catches. Shi Smith, 2 targets that he never should have gotten. They could took those 2 targets and fed them to DJ. And folks, I'm telling you right now, nobody in the league is seeing DJ as somebody who they should not worry about. Okay, DJ Moore is known. DJ Moore is known, and in fact, might I say, Robbie should be getting off because of that. Robbie sees that they're double teaming DJ. Folks, you're gonna have a safety on top, safety underneath. That's the same way they played Steve Smith. Most NFL defenses do this. They'll take your best receiver, have them mirrored in the safety on top, or have a zone, maybe a cloud concept, and shift the zone to where to where that one receiver is and where they flow. This is why first and foremost you have a receiver motioning back and forth trying to figure out where the scheme is shifting to and figure out who the matchup is, right? But here's the kicker. If you're not in tune with the playbook to where it's second nature, like a lot of these starting quarterbacks that have been in the same system for 3-4 seasons, you're not going to get that kind of result, folks. You're not going to get that kind of result. Very rarely you'll see a quarterback come into a program and they go to, 10, 11, 12 wins that season, because it's extremely hard to get a good grip on the playbook to where it's second nature, where you can make calls at the line, where you can see the route tree based on the schematics of the defense, not necessarily what you're running. Timing. These things matter, folks. I understand you love the game, but you need to understand the game. These things matter. Too many of you guys got the Madden complex, and it's hilarious. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is look on the other side of the Rams. Now, this is a well-coached, calculated, offensive, talented team. Now, granted, their numbers don't tell you that in terms of the games they've played, but look at it. Cooper Kupp basically had the same exact stats as Christian McCaffrey, and he's a receiver. But the thing that gets me is the receivers under that. Look at how well the ball was distributed, and look at how well the receptions were in terms of the targets. 8 targets, 7 receptions. 6 targets, 5 receptions. 5 targets, 5 receptions. 5 targets, 4 receptions. 3 targets, 2 receptions. Some receivers got one ball and they caught that bad boy and made the best out of it. 14 yards, 13 yards. This is how you get it done, folks. Is it coaching? Well, yeah. And we just removed that cancer. So what do you expect? We're going through chemo right now. Let's put it that way. And to all you cancer survivors, peace and blessings to you. Now, my man Hecker, we're going out here to the punting. The reason why I highlighted how many times he put that ball within the 20-yard line is because each and every time he put that ball within the 20-yard line, and I'll get down to that in just a second, actually. Yeah. Each and every time he did that, the Rams got the ball and they marched down the damn field on us. They were getting hit with them 3rd and longs, and we couldn't tackle any damn body, and they were getting screens and things of that nature and getting first downs, which is another thing I find it funny about. People are harping on McAdoo for throwing screens, this, that, and the third. Well, guess what? The Rams could tackle. We couldn't. The Rams could tackle. We could not. I am not a fair weather fan, folks. I could teach this course in college. Let's put it that way. Moving on. So total first downs. Here you go. 22 first downs by the Rams, folks. 8 first downs by the Panthers for the entire game. We're averaging 2 first downs a quarter. Who are you going to beat like that? First downs by passing. 16-5. 16 Rams first downs. And then let's get into the bread and butter. Third down efficiency, ladies and gentlemen. We had 10 opportunities on third down. We only converted that twice. And if I'm not mistaken, those 2 conversions might have been in the first quarter. I don't think we converted a third down throughout the rest of the game. And I'm thinking about it. But anyway. And the Rams, they 50%. I think the only team that we've held under 40% in third down conversion was the Saints, and we won that game. Moving on. Total net yards on offense, 203 to 360, obviously. Total offensive plays, ladies and gentlemen. And if you haven't noticed, the fourth quarter is not very kind to our defense, especially when we can't score points. 63 offensive plays. They almost ran 20 more offensive plays than we did. Net yards rushing. We almost had 100. But Chris McCaffrey had less than 20 carries. Hell, combined, he had 21 touches, if I'm not mistaken. And they had 111. Okay, no biggie. Net yards passing, almost 250. They had almost 3 times what we had in passing yards. Pass attempts and completions. Yeah, 21-13, right, 33-26. All right, so Matthew Stafford was averaging 7.3 yards per pass play. All right, penalties. We won the penalty situation, which is great considering we had a head coach that that just left and things of that nature on a road trip, West Coast trip, and our guys were still in tune. They were dialed in. That's what happens when you only have 3 penalties. Now they were untimely. Don't get me wrong, especially that roughing the passer penalty. That was, but they had the Rams had 7 penalties for 49 yards. Some of those were on offense that put them behind the 8 ball on 3rd down, and they still converted complimentary football. When you don't play it, you lose it. Red zone efficiency. Here we go again. We got in a red zone one time. The Rams got in the red zone 4 times. 3 out of 4, they scored. They got into goal to go. They got into goal to go 3 times and converted 2 out of those 3. And of course, time of possession. Once again, our opponent had the football almost an entire quarter more than we did. And they were behind. They were again the whole 3rd and long shit, man. That just, it kills the defense. It does. It kills momentum. It does kill momentum. Cause you back them up, you're like, yeah, we're good, and then a couple of missed tackles, and you get a first down on a 3rd and 16 from a draw play. I wish we could have done that when Shula was here. Remember them draw plays? Damn. Moving on. So ball possession and drive chart. Now here we go. You see those 3s? Those are the number of plays we ran. 3 plays. 3 plays. 3 plays, 4 yards. 3 plays, 9 yards. 3 plays, 4 yards. 3 plays, 7 yards. 3 plays, 5 yards. Oh yeah, I was right. So yeah, we had quite a few first downs on that first drive. We had 2 first downs on the second drive, and we didn't have another first down until the 4th quarter. It's ridiculous. And of course, you see the Rams here. And the reason I highlighted this because this reminds me of the inside the opponent's 20. All right, so those are those punts I was talking about. 3 of those punts dropped it within the 20. And you see here last scrimmage. They had it on the Carolina 5, the Carolina 3, the Carolina 17, the Carolina 2. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown. 10 plays, 12 plays, 13 plays. Yards penalty, you see that. Now we gave them 15, but they had minus 15 yards in that situation. Their very first touchdown. If we could have shut them out completely in the first half, that would have really screwed with their minds, but we didn't. And the thing about it is, again, complimentary football. We put them inside the 20-yard line. With our defense, that should not be an issue. And last but not least, of course, time of possession by quarter, which tells a big story. When we control the time of possession, which we did by controlling the line of scrimmage in the first quarter, damn near in the second quarter, but the first quarter specifically, we held the ball for 11 minutes, 12-play drive. We got some points out of that. Rams didn't know what to do. Second quarter, they made adjustments, and we started realizing that our offense has been compromised. They made defensive adjustments and offensive adjustments, but even though they made offensive adjustments, our defense shit the bed in terms of tackling. Some penalties, but tackling specifically, and it's a momentum killer. Then the Rams got the ball. They got the ball first in the second half, and look at it. They wound up having the ball for 12 minutes in the third quarter, damn near 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. You're not gonna win games like that, folks. Now it'd be different if we had the ball for 2 minutes and 48 seconds and we hit them with a one play 75-yarder. That's completely different. When you have the ball for 2 minutes and 48 seconds, you can't even get a first down because we didn't get a first down. If you look back up at our ball possession, we didn't get a first down. We didn't get a first down at all. No, after our first two possessions, it was a wrap, Jack. It didn't make no damn sense, man. But yeah, so that's that, folks. We could have won that game. We could have really won that game. Time of possession as a whole for the first half was 14 minutes to 15 minutes, basically. If it weren't for D-Jack, we wouldn't even scored. We wouldn't even had a touchdown in any capacity that game. It is what it is, folks. We need better players. We need better players, and this coaching staff is having to take the reins over something that has been absolutely poisoned. In my opinion, it's pretty clear that Matt Rule had more control over this roster than we want to come to grips with. Fitterer just did what he was supposed to do as a GM. Listen to your head coach, and have your people find the best they can in terms of getting some type of deal done, getting some type of talent here. I'm also afraid that Cam Newton had an opportunity to come here during the off season. And get ready for OTAs and things of that nature. And just like some of the other players that we were courting, the environment here was not fit for that. And Cam, one thing you don't want to do, folks, is have somebody who has that type of impact like Cam does. He has a lot of friends in the NFL still playing. He has a lot of contact with people that are still playing, even coaches. And I guarantee you, to some of these guys who came here talked to Cam, and Cam was like, "Yeah, I don't want to do that." It's a lose-lose situation, and even though Rule's gone, it's going to take a long time to get over what he's done to this franchise, especially since you still got Tepper at the top. It's going to take a long time. We're in no position to be shopping anybody anywhere. Because if you want any sense of a winning franchise, you need to keep your core players and build around it. And that starts with the coaching staff. You build the coaching staff around your players. You don't build players around the coaching staff. This is not college. This is what Rule tried to do. He tried to put the right players around him instead of having a philosophy and applying that to the players that were already here and maintaining that and growing off of what the keep pounding mantra is. It was could have just kept Cam. Who knows? Luke might even stuck around too. If we got the right coach, whether I've been Bieniemy, Leftwich, whatever. It wasn't Coach Rule. So we got Tampa next week, Panther fans. Y'all stay tuned. And as always, keep pounding.
Get your comms up.
The Panther Comms Podcast with Timmy VO.